today my children, actually last night, they requested that I made spaghetti, and I make a very hearty, healthy, and quote unquote meaty sauce, but it's meatless. And I just said, hey, you know what, this would be a good idea, a good time for me to make a video of this. So I have my ingredients displayed in front of us. I'm gonna have a lot of garlic in it because I like garlic. You don't have to use this much, it's just what I like. I have a carrot, some Italian squash and some squash here, some yellow squash. I have sage, oh, and mushrooms, portobello mushrooms. I have about 8 to 10 ounces of portobello mushrooms here. Have some sage, Italian seasoning, olive oil, salt, some ground, a pepper medley pepper, and some tomato paste. And we're not going to use the whole can. You can use between like 4 to 8 ounces. This just makes the sauce a lot more thicker. And I also use a plant-based sauce that I enjoy, and this is the sauce that I like, and it's organic, but that doesn't mean anything right now because a lot of these ingredients, some of them are organic and some of them aren't, but I really like this sauce. And we need a food processor. So I'm just going to show you how things are going to look once I start to process some of these foods. I'm going to get into these first, and this is actually the meat. This is all the meat, again, quote unquote, the meat of the pasta sauce. You could use this for spaghetti. I use a very similar sauce to with my lasagna, and basically the difference with the lasagna is I'll use 2 jars of the sauce, and pretty much everything else stays the same, and a little less tomato paste. But let's get into it. Gotta start processing some of this stuff. I promised the kids we'll go to the park after I'm done making this, so I'm trying to rush and make this, take them to the park, bring them back home, feed them. So I'm a little busy, so let's get started. Alright, so I have in here the garlic, the onions, and the 4 mini peppers. I chopped them coarsely, except for the garlic. I chopped the onions and the mini peppers coarsely so that I wouldn't have to process them as much. So let's just go ahead and see if I've overfilled this processor or not. And this is what you're actually gonna you can process this down a little bit more because you want it to be finer. If you were to chop this by hand, this would be the mincing. Okay. And this is basically all for the mushrooms. The mushroom is basically the meatier part of your sauce. The other veggies are just along for the ride. So as you can see, that's our ground meat and our onions and garlic and our mini peppers. We're going to saute the mini peppers and the onions and garlic first in olive oil, and we're just going to concentrate on the mushrooms and flavoring the mushrooms so that it brings the whole sauce together. Okay, even though this sauce, this Bertolli sauce has quite a bit of flavor, I just like a little bit more, and I like to, you know, just add my own spice on things, which you can do. Also, I like spicier spaghetti. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes I'll add some crushed red peppers into it as well. And I also add a little bit of sugar. I forgot to put that in as far as the ingredients, but I do add a little bit of sugar to give it some sweetness. Again, the Bertolli's has a little sugar in it, but you know, I like to add a little bit more of everything to this sauce because it's not a homemade sauce. It's a what I call a semi-homemade sauce, because I'm adding more things to the already store-bought sauce. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're going to heat our pan, and we're going to heat up some of this olive oil. And I'm going to heat it medium high. I'm going to heat about 2 to 3 tablespoons of the olive oil. The oil is getting a little hot, so we're just going to add in all of the onions and garlic and the pepper and the oil, bringing out that nice, beautiful aroma. Just keep moving it around a little bit. And even though we have it already, it's finely chopped, you just want to cook it down a little bit before you add in the onions, because you want the mushrooms, because you want to bring the mushrooms into a lot of flavor. Mushrooms tend to absorb flavors, and so you want them to get a lot of this good flavor. The goal is to make it taste a little bit like a sausage, just a little. Best we can without using any subs, which is the reason why I use the sage. Sometimes I'll add a little thyme. But like I said, most of the seasonings are going in right now as we flavor up the mushrooms. So let's add those mushrooms in here. I'm going to add the pepper. Lots of sage here. I'll say I'm using roughly about a teaspoon or 2 of sage. Italian seasoning, same, about a teaspoon or 2. And this is going to be a teaspoon and a half of salt. Not yet. Not yet. We're going to go after I'm done making this. Okay, so you can see the mushrooms cooking down, getting a little liquidy. At this time, you can add the other veggies. Just add that in and let it all cook together. Look at that. And I like that the kids like the spaghetti because look at all the vegetables that is in it. If your kids are like mine, they hate vegetables, mostly. Or they only like one kind of vegetable, or, you know, they're eating squash. They're getting, two different kind of squash. They have carrots, and sometimes I'll even add spinach to it. I'm not doing that today, obviously, but yeah, I'll add that. They have the mini peppers in there, and the onions, and the garlic, and all that goodness. And then let's not mention when we add the sauce in there, you know, they're getting some tomatoes, and just all that goodness. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give it a little taste to see if it has enough seasoning. Just a little bit. I'm satisfied with that. Keep cooking it down a little bit. I'm going to start preparing to put our sauce in there. I start off with the paste first because that's just what I do. Then I'll add the sauce after and let it cook for a while on low until everything is tender because those vegetables are still crispy. So let me clean this off. Okay, so like I said, this is a 12-ounce can. You only need about 6 to 8 ounces of the tomato paste. So that's about all I'm going to use for this. Mix that all in there. Alright, I had a little malfunction. Didn't know that my video stopped recording. But anyway, I added the tomato paste in there, evenly distributed throughout the vegetables. And then I added my my bottle of sauce, 24-ounce jar of sauce. And what I'm doing right now, I'm just letting it cook down. And I'm going to let it cook for about 20 minutes. Then I'm going to add about, I don't know, 3 to 5 tablespoons of sugar and mix it all in there. And I don't know if I said this in the last clip, but I'll say it again. And I was saying that the reason why I like this is because the kids don't even know that the vegetables are there. And once it cooks down, the vegetables will just blend in with the sauce a lot more. And they don't even know that there are this many vegetables in there. So you get to, you know, feed your kids a healthy dinner without them stressing you out. You just want to do your job as a parent and make sure they're getting all the nutrients. And then also, when I add the sugar, I'm also going to add about maybe about 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast in there too. Add it in there, it gives it that cheesy flavor and more nutrients. So that's always a blast. So, uh-oh, gotta go. Okay, so I added the nutritional yeast, which I added about, I don't know, 5 tablespoons to about 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. It's hot. And I added 3 tablespoons of sugar. Let this cook down until the vegetables are nice and tender. And that's the end result. Got my noodles ready. I'm getting ready to just pour the sauce into my noodles. And then any excess any excess sauce can actually just be frozen and used for another pasta dish later. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for the little mishap. And like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.